Welcome to JC NERR and How We Got Here, the show where you get an inside look into the stories and experiences that brought each of our staff here to the Reserve. And a very special thank you to our guest today, who is Kaitlin Gannon. She is the education coordinator here at the Reserve, and she has been with us for about 3 years. We are so excited to have you with us today to share your story and figure out how you arrived on the Reserve.
Hey, me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, let's get started. So, when did you know that you wanted to pursue a career in the sciences? Was there any kind of special moments or any kind of experiences that kind of had that click for you?
Yeah, well, I grew up, my parents taking me to campsites and going hiking and kayaking. So I think it was ingrained in me when I was really young to just get outside and explore outside and appreciate the outdoors. I do have one experience in particular where I knew for sure that I wanted to go into the field of biology and conservation, and that's when I had an internship in Costa Rica when I was I believe a sophomore in college. So that was a really unique experience, very eye-opening. I got to spend about 2 weeks in Costa Rica working with leatherback sea turtles, and doing some work in researching where they're coming onto the beach to lay eggs, nest excavations. I visited a hatchery, and there I think I knew for sure that I wanted to be involved in biology, environmental science, conservation, all of the above. So I think that was a really pivotal moment for me in my career.
Now, where did you grow up? What town?
Old Bridge, New Jersey, which I and a lot of Old Bridgians would consider central New Jersey. A lot of people don't consider central Jersey a thing, but I consider it just basically kind of in the middle of, the state is very suburban, but it was still a really nice town.
Now, what in your hometown, what kind of an environment, like habitat, ecosystem did you grow up in? Like, what were you kind of surrounded by, immersed in as a kid?
I would say, we were fairly close to the shore, like maybe 20 to 30 minutes from the beach, which still is not too bad. But it was, developed, but we still had some nice areas of woodlands. A lot of deciduous forests. Were not really on the boundaries of any of the pine barrens, since we are a bit, north of that.
Now, so that's a little bit about, as you're a little youngster, kind of the early days. So let's fast forward to college.
Okay.
So what college did you attend?
I attended the University of Findlay in Findlay, Ohio.
So Ohio, what made you choose Ohio? What was it about that school?
Good question. I have, when I tell people University of Findlay, not many people are familiar with the university. It is a small university. I went out there because my first interest was veterinary school. So as a high schooler, I was interested in veterinary medicine and getting into that field. I was also, I grew up horseback riding. So I also was interested in being in some sort of equestrian program. And Findlay had really great programs in both of those fields. They actually had a pre-veterinary undergraduate degree, which preps you for vet school very well. Not too many universities had such a robust, program to get kids into vet school. And also they had a very strong equestrian riding program, which I was all about. And I really liked the area. It was very different from New Jersey, very rural, flat, no ocean, right? So I liked the cultural change a little bit, even though it was a little different at first, but everyone out there was so nice, and I was really comfortable at the university, so then I decided that's where I wanted to go.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So it seems like you did as well as almost probably all of us have done. So you switched your major as you went. Mm-hmm. So when did you make that switch? Did you make it like later on or early on?
So I made it like halfway through my college experience. So I had some experiences that made me think about really what I wanted to do. One of them was that Costa Rican experience, that internship with working with the sea turtles, that I was like, okay, maybe this is more up my alley. And then I worked in a vet hospital and I shadowed some vets, and I found that work really rewarding. But it maybe in some regards wasn't what I thought it would be. So I, after that internship and after working in, a few vet hospitals and shadowing, I kind of thought I had a little bit more spark and a little bit more passion for the conservation biology side. So that's why I did the switch.
Now, so we talked about like your passion for animals when you switched from veterinary over into like a marine science field. Now, what about education? What made you decide to go down like an education aspect?
Right. So I kind of got into education sort of by happenstance. I wasn't planning on it. I thought, after I had made the decision, okay, I want to go biology and conservation, I thought, okay, then the path is then like research, right? I might have to be a technician for a little while, maybe go to grad school. I didn't really even realize that environmental education was a career I could get into. So I think, when I was growing up, I did have a side job in high school teaching kids how to paint in a local art class. So that was kind of fun. And I didn't realize that I was teaching. I was just helping out, but I did really enjoy it. And it wasn't until college where I did have another teaching experience, and I realized, oh, this is kind of neat. And that was when I was a teaching assistant for anatomy and physiology class. So I took that job part-time to help the A&P 1 class do their labs. And I did find that really rewarding. I didn't think, it was, at the time I was like, I don't know if this is related to what I want to do, but I'm just going to go for it and see if they need any help. And I got it. And I really did enjoy that teaching experience. And then after that, when I graduated, I got a job as a naturalist in southern New Jersey on a local whale watching boat. That's when I think my environmental education career really just like took off, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be an educator now. So that one-on-one interaction with people I really enjoyed, which is funny because naturally I'm a really shy person. So to be interacting with people on a daily basis and doing education with people, groups of people I don't know, talking to people I don't know, that didn't matter. I was passionate enough to want to continue along education, and the rest is kind of history after that.
So was that job on the naturalist job, was that your kind of first position in the field, kind of first get your feet wet?
Yep. I called the company that puts on the tours, and I originally was like applying to tech jobs, field research jobs left and right, in my senior year, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. I was thinking big. I was thinking like places in California, Yellowstone, and I had a few interviews, but it ended up not working out, and that's, okay. And then my dad actually suggested, what about that whale watching company we used to, go on when we went on vacation? And I said, okay, I'll give them a call, see if they need help as a naturalist. And I called them and they said, sure, send us your resume. And I said, all right. And then I, started working for them that summer after I graduated. So yeah, that's how it kind of all happened. I didn't think I was going to come back to New Jersey after college, but I did, and I'm glad I did. So
cool. Now from there, So if you kind of just get your feet wet as a naturalist, you're having like the time of your life being on a boat. I know informal education is personally incredible, and I know you really much enjoy it too.
Yep.
Now from there, where did your path lead?
So from there, it was a seasonal job, like a lot of environmental education jobs are, and that's okay. So I had to figure out what I was going to do in the winter time. I did have to take up some odd jobs in retail. So, just to kind of pay the bills. And from actually the whale watching, the folks that I know at the whale watching company, they work with the Wetlands Institute. They contract them out to use their boats sometimes for educational programs, and I met them through the company. And they at one point were hiring. So I had submitted my application for their environmental educator position, which they were looking to fill. And then I got an interview and then got the job, I think, the spring of 2011. I'm trying to think back that far. And then started working for them full-time. That's the Wetlands Institute. They're a nonprofit organization down in southern New Jersey. And I worked as an environmental educator for a few years after that. And then I went to outreach coordinator for them after a few years as being their environmental educator. So
now, after 3 wonderful years, give us a little snippet about what you do as our education coordinator.
Sure, yeah. So as an education coordinator, I plan and coordinate all of our educational programming at the reserve, both for, on-site programs, off-site programs, for people of all ages. We really try to connect with everybody, both on the reserve, off the reserve, which is challenging sometimes, but we try our best and try new and creative ways to reach out to all those different groups of people. So a lot of planning and coordinating, but also I try to be a resource for teachers who are teaching about marine science, environmental science, sustainability, and just in sciences in general. I offer professional development for educators as well. Throughout the year, maybe I'll keep in contact with educators, but also I try to provide workshops for them to help them understand what's going on at the reserve, either research related, stewardship related, and also some of the global environmental issues that are also really important. So try to touch on local things and global things, and just be here for teachers. We have activities here at the reserve that maybe teachers would like to do with their class, but maybe they don't have the support or know how to get all of the activity materials together. So they could even come and just ask me hey, can I borrow your mini ROVs for the day? Or hey, can I borrow your one activity on marsh migration or marsh monitoring? And I was like, yeah, come on down. I'll give you all of the materials and things like that. They can take back and borrow for a little while. So I've had teachers come by and do that for sure. So just utilize us as a resource for, in multiple different ways. I also do work with students. I'll, go to their classrooms and talk about all sorts of different things related to the estuary. And they can come here as well. And then finally, sorry, I'm kind of going on. I also develop educational and outreach materials for different projects, research-related projects. A lot of research related programs incorporate some sort of environmental education component to it. So I help with coming up with an educational piece to a lot of those research projects. So I hope that answered.
No, it doesn't. There's no need to apologize. This is really great, especially for any, say, teachers we have that are with us today, or anybody who wants to kind of reach out and find out more. Now, hey, they know how to get to you and what you could potentially offer. So that's incredible.
Yeah. And we also want to know from teachers, like, what would you like to have in the classroom that you don't have? Is there a way for the Jacques Cousteau Reserve or the reserves in general to be able to provide it for you? So we're interested in that information too.
Now, what are your goals? Do you have any goals or anything that you want to not necessarily accomplish, but things that you want to really do while you're here?
Well, I think my overall goal as being the education coordinator is just to take that science information and help those understand it in a way that's relatable, kind of like being a science translator almost, and to have people that maybe don't consider themselves sciencey or interested in science, and take away something that resonates with them, and then maybe want to be a little bit more involved or part of what we do here. And then I think the other thing is that I just want people to develop connections with the reserve, or in the outdoors in general. I think that's a huge part of environmental conservation and appreciation, is just to get outside and have experiences that will resonate with people, whether it's going for a hike, going fishing with their family, or even just going to the beach, just getting out. And once you experience that, then you can maybe develop some of those connections and want to be a part of something bigger. And I hope I can, get people to experience those things and create those connections. That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. We actually talk about around here, we quote Jacques Cousteau himself often, and saying, people protect what they love. So if we could get people to really, have a connection with the reserve, then that's super cool. So, yeah.
I could not have even scripted a better way to close the interview than that. That is incredible. But thank you again so much for joining us today. We are incredibly grateful to have you here at the reserve, and I encourage everybody who is listening today to attend all of the amazing public programs that we have to offer. Kaitlin has done such an incredible job putting these together. She's put her heart, soul, maybe a little bit of blood into it, and it really shows her passion that you could even hear just her conversating with me and with you today.
Oh,
you could really hear you could hear it, and then you can experience it more at these public programs that we offer. So thank you, Kaitlin, so much for joining us today.
Oh, sure. And people can, if they want to, learn more about the reserve system, they can always go on the Jacques Cousteau website, jcner.org. We also have a trail and an exhibit for people to visit daily, and that's on the website too. So come visit us.
Thank you guys so much.